بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد وانتشت روحي وصار الدمع يجري يا إلهي خذ بقلبي للرشاد أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما
together with Uchani and together with the other groups here like the Informal Settlement Network, Marlboro Crisis Committee, we want to see development in this area. We want to see upliftment. We want to see that there are some other services for the whole community from these buildings here. And we'd be very happy to contribute more in other ways as well, if possible. So that's where we're coming in from.
When we went to Marlboro, I did not know exactly what to expect. I mean, there's a lot of things that you take for granted when you're in those sorts of spaces. But through being there, through learning, through seeing the people, how people respond to spaces, how intricate that network of things are.
Sometimes it's sort of difficult to analyze a settlement like Marlboro South from just maps and so forth. One needs to engage and one needs to understand the way people live around those settlements, as that they were not designed for people to inhabit, but it was an industrial area, and I think that on its own, it's a good lesson for architects to take.
Let's go. Who all's going? Hey, who all is going? Come and hold you at work, I said leave.
My first impression is that it's, especially when you're looking at it from this perspective, trying to get a sense of where these passages go, how wide the buildings are off the street, if there's any internal courtyard scenarios, how a person would access their shack if they aren't necessarily on the street but further in. But it's quite an eye-opener to see just how dense it is when you're high up over here. You don't really get that from the street.
These are people that are taking initiative. They need to be part of a society which provides them with maximum opportunity. When you're in an environment like Marlboro, which is so close to the city, so close to Sandton CBD, the opportunity is there.
It was quite exciting to engage with the community on a sort of a group scale and walking around the settlement on its own, and they gave everything that they could. We were there to learn from them, and at the same time they were going to learn from us.
Okay, so it's kitchen, living room, bedroom.
Exactly.
Now, what are you as a community going to do with the work that we're compiling for you now, that we're putting together?
We don't want just to sit back and say no, but we are waiting for the government to come down and help us. So we want to show the government that we've got something in mind. We have our own stuff. If he doesn't have, how can he meet us halfway?
If you see the car, what are you looking at now? The trees. Beautiful.
We just started really getting to know how the community works and how they function, and they just started accepting us when the first evictions hit Marlboro. It was very heartbreaking, and since we emotionally became involved with it, we started looking at various materials on site and how we can help them to rebuild what they used to call their home.
This is a real world problem. This is a real world project where, I mean, as a student, you have to change your perception about how you would design. You can go into the working world and take on this exact same project, but you will have to attend to it completely different.
We need to communicate to all people, you know? So if you don't understand, it's not your fault, it's our fault. No, I promise. Who's, like, if I need to help you, you need to understand me, and I need to understand you, you know?
The biggest thing that I took away personally from the Marlboro project architecturally, and it's going to form the foundation for me in the future, is to be able to divorce yourself from your own ego and your own agendas, but yet to be true to yourself in design. And that objectivity is held by your client.
Marlboro on its own did change my perceptions as to what is architecture or the role of architecture in our society.
That's a 1, that's a 2 like that, that's a 3, that's a 4. Now you go like that, 1, you've got 2, 3, you've got a 4. You know it's a face.
It's so nice.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Okay.
There's a big emphasis on community spaces. Spaces which engage with the people themselves. So providing those sorts of ideas, which is, I mean, it's African ideology. People don't have a formal plan when they're planning their spaces in Marlboro, but yet there are specific areas where everyone will come together, where everyone will meet, where everyone will talk or do their washing. And those sort of things happen naturally. So taking on those certain things and learning from the basic things that we see in informal settlements and applying that into situations like Hillbrow or Sandton, where people live in communities. They don't realize it, but they are living in different communities.
Shani Fund is a non-profit organization, and we support communities throughout the country. We support them in terms of administering, account administration, social development and projects. So projects like this, as Zain has said, has come up. So through our initial involvement in Marlboro came was last year with the evictions. That's how we came to our community, and we later on met up with Okwaf, and Okwaf told us about these buildings. We also linked up with the University of Johannesburg to do some type of designing. I don't know, Charles, have you mentioned in terms of the design that we will be able to house a larger group out of Marlboro, a minimum of 60 families. So about 30 families this side, 30 families that side, in a more formal situation. And our whole idea is we will get the city of Johannesburg on board, as well as the President's office.
يا حبيب الله يا رسول الله 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 هذا الرسول إذا يبسم ترى الأرض نورا فلا تظلم هذا الرسول إذا يبسم ترى الأرض نورا فلا تظلم وثار الحبيب إذا ما بدا يدافع